Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Scott Beardsley. We're going to go ahead and get started. As you can tell, we're on kind of a tight schedule, so I'll make sure we got the timekeeper up here, the suit guy, you know. And we're going to make sure that I want to make this as interactive as possible. So my slides are super simple. Each slide is intended to stop, make the concept, maybe interact a little bit, get an idea or two from y'all, and then move on to the next one, all right? So again, I'm Scott Beardsley with Technology Navigators. Anyone ever hear of my company? All right, about one or two people there. We are actually, unlike many of the other presenters and exhibitors here, we're a third-party recruiting firm. So we have a unique perspective. We help about 25, 30 people a month land their next great career move. And we've been around since 1999 in one office right in Austin, watched Austin turn from a small little town with a couple big companies to what it is now. So we offer some unique perspectives, have a lot of friends in the business, if you know what I mean. And whether it's here or offline, I think we can help you out. Okay? That's why I said navigating your way to a better job. Is anyone in here looking for their next great career move right now? I figured, why would you be here? So that was me. So I kind of took the old 7 habits of highly effective people, used this presentation in a couple different manners, used it for 7 habits of highly effective hiring managers. Because really, I do a lot of training for the folks on the other end of the table that have to interview and hire you guys. And believe it or not, there's a whole lot of training necessary there. You know what I mean? And you guys, put your heart into your resume and your career, and someone gives you 10 seconds of a review and all that, I don't buy it. So I kind of train these guys how to work differently and see who's the person, not the paper. Deal with that side of things. And so I kind of took it and said, I'm going to do the 7 habits of highly effective job seekers here. Take copious notes. First is reputation and brand management. Anyone know what I mean? This modern day world, I can find anything I need to find out about you in a couple clicks. One thing about being a third-party recruiter, or headhunter as we love to be called, is we're researchers at heart. We certainly, it takes no time at all, just a natural curiosity in the internet to find out what we need to know. So you should go be a recruiter sometime and see, are you going to recruit yourself? If you were going to recruit yourself, what are you seeing out there? Me, I play music at night in bands. There were some pictures that were just not cool. It wasn't me, but it was people I was with, and that's all you need is, guilty by association. It's like, look at that partier. But, and maybe it wasn't me. The point is, you need to show what you want to show out there, and you need to know what people can see. At least take a look. Does everyone here have a LinkedIn profile? What about a Facebook account? And what else is even out there worthy of mention? Twitter, is that still going strong? But, I look at that a lot. Any technoids in the house? There's a lot of technical sites. Like there's GitHub, and Stack Overflow, and there's places where people are starting to put code online. We can dig samples of your code. Point is, everyone these days, it's almost negligent not to do a 5-10 minute research on somebody just to see who is the person behind the paper. Well before you're selected for an interview, someone already knows a tremendous amount about them. Question is, what do you know about them? Are you doing any snooping on the company and looking for people on LinkedIn and seeing who's the managers there and maybe going to their Facebook page and see what kind of people you're dealing with? Goes both ways, right? Reputation and brand management these days is becoming a real deal killer. If you wonder why no one's calling you back on your resume, you go out online and find something funky, it's probably that. Make sense? Any questions on that one? Anyone get stung by that? Or you may not know it, right? All right, that's a kind of a crazy graphic, but how many people here make it sort of a mission to build a private network? Does anyone have what they call a private network? No? What about your LinkedIn profile that you have? Don't you have connections? And are you, I have a lot of connections because people will say, Scott, can we connect? And I say yes, because quite frankly, I want access to their network, and et cetera, et cetera. There's lots of ulterior motives. But people who I link with get access to my network too. I was one of the first people on LinkedIn when it first came out. I get letters from their president all the time. Point is, are you using it though? So you have connections. But I can only stay in touch with so many people. I actually have a to-do thing on my personal calendar that says, spin my network wheel for at least 2 hours a week. And I try to go in it and say, oh, look at this person. They're a connection of mine, and I haven't even said hello to them in the last 3 months. And it's, almost like a tickler system, you know what I mean? I have it categorized. I have my ex-colleagues, which there's a lot. I have friends. I have my music buds, family. So I can go in and say, click family, filter by family, and hey, when's the last time I talked to my little nephew? So I make sure that it's, to have a network and say I got a lot of names is one thing, but you have to work it for it to mean anything. I always like to tell people, if you have like a family member that's, old Uncle John, but when's the last time you talked to him? Because it's not good enough to know that you have a contact named Uncle John, but how useful is Uncle John for you when it comes to finding a job? And if it's the only time you call old Uncle John is when you're job seeking or when you need to borrow money, they tend not to return your calls a lot. But if you're pinging them regularly, just saying hello and staying in touch, when you do have to call and ask a favor, they resonate. Make sense? And LinkedIn is putting together some pretty interesting features these days. They say, it's Jennifer Eastlick's birthday, say happy birthday, and I just have to say click. And it's like Scott Beardsley wrote, happy birthday, Jennifer. And so many people write back to me, thank you, Scott. I'm thinking, damn, it's pretty slick. So in a click, I can stay in touch with people, and they say, it's like pinging them. They know I'm here. You know what I mean? Again, it only matters if a network is, the definition is we help each other. It isn't a list of names. It's like if you need something from me, and the only time I hear from you is when you need something, it's like, hey, well, what about last month when it was my birthday? All you had to do was say click. Stuff like that. All right. Job searching is always a proactive. Now, many of you that are in the middle of a job search right now, it may not seem very proactive to you, but just even if you land your next great career move, don't stop. You just never stop looking for your next great job. Doesn't matter what anyone tells you. There's no corporate loyalty. There's no one that say, oh, you're in the firm for life. You're there for as long as they need you, really. And if Bean Counter up in Boston says it's time to cut that division, you're out looking for your next job. You just never want to be caught like that. And as you're proactively job searching, it's less about sending resumes and saying, I'm looking for a job, what do you think? Because people might say, well, what do you mean? You just took that job 2 months ago. This guy must be malcontent or whatever. It's just messaging. Hey, I have this great job. Too bad I didn't see yours when it came out. I like to stay in touch. That goes a long way. People file you away as mentally connected. Like they find you, they file you into a box saying, we just missed that guy. He took that job 2 months ago. We should hands off. But you know what? In 90 days, I call people back. I get told every day, Scott, I just took a job. Take me off your interview list or whatever. And we say, okay. And we flag it for a 90-day call. At least half of them want to talk to me again in the 90-day window. And they say, well, I mean, I'm talking about big companies too. Just last week, so I told one of my colleagues, here's the software developer we need for this one company. Now I talked to him a few months ago. He took a job at GM. No one leaves there. I said, okay, well then I'll take it then. Ping, ping, ping. He said, funny you ask, Scott. I really thought it was going to be all that, but I'm just disenchanted. Wouldn't mind looking out for your thing. Got him interviewing at another company. So believe me, it's worthwhile. And you know how it is, 90 days in. Now, if you're past your 90-day window, chances are you're having fun and loving your job. Stick it out. I'm not saying quit all the time. That doesn't work. It's just that don't be caught off guard. Always have your feelers out. There's nothing wrong with that. Be proactive. Anyone here, the network of networks concept? What did you hear, sir? What networks do you know?
Yeah. Agile Austin is really good.
That's a really good and big one.
Yeah.
It's getting bigger all the time. I sponsor that once a quarter. It's about $2,500. It's priceless for me to make that many friends. But I'm in technology. But there's a whole lot of non-tech oriented networks around Austin too. One thing I know about recruiting all over the United States for 30 years is Austin is one of the most network-friendly towns on the planet. I know if you try to network in Manhattan or San Francisco or LA, good luck, man. There's like just a lot of people saying, don't shake my hand, I don't even want to look at you. But Austin is much more friendly. And I think everyone who lives here should take advantage of that. Anyone ever hear of a group called Meetup? Mm-hmm. Meetups? You could go on there and snoop around and use the search bar and just There's meetup groups for people that like to play jacks. There's meetup groups for musicians. There's meetup groups for people that like to pound beer. There's almost anything. There's technical meetup groups, but it's almost, you can't go wrong. You're going to go out and meet friends, associates, and that turns into job leads. So your networking is how you build up that private talent network. Once you go to the public networks and you shake hands with someone and they give you a card, what do you do with that? Well, if you go home that day and say, oh, that was a fun networking group, I think I'll go again. No. Card on the private talent network list or a LinkedIn request. I use a spreadsheet because LinkedIn isn't the only tool I use. So everything, the mothership is the spreadsheet. And I'll put my people right on the spreadsheet and say, when's the last time I talked to Sally Sue, who I met at the last meetup group? That was the Beer Pounders Network. You know, and I just want to know, well, I met her, now I have to follow up with her. If I don't follow up with someone for at least 6 to 12 months, I drop them off because they forgot me, I forgot them, and now it's not a good relationship anymore. So if you meet someone, make sure you follow up that next day or two. But there's so many networks. Austin Women in Technology, She-Hacks, Python groups. These folks welcome anyone. So if you have just an interest in Java development, they're not going to say, where's your credentials? They're going to say, have a seat and hang out and get to know people. Again, everyone you know is going to matter down the road. There's some pretty interesting creative job hunting techniques. We heard the previous presenter here talk about milk cartons and all that, the pizza box. It's all cool. You know, unlike nonprofits, most of the people I deal with do scan in resumes, and the creativeness is lost a lot, and there's like less of an appreciation for fancy resumes and crazy things on it and stuff. Sometimes we just want the material and scanning into the database, the world of electronics, you know what I mean? But outside the box creative job hunting is not too wacky. It's not like wearing a gorilla suit and showing up in front of the building or something. It's really just reaching out to people. And you know, say I wanted to go to work at ABC Corporation, so I'd go and I'd snoop around. I'll try to find some relationships. Maybe someone that is on LinkedIn that works at that company, but not just anyone. Maybe someone that shares an interest like mine, or went to a school in the Northeast, or is part of a networking group that I'm a part of. I'm looking for all these commonalities. And through that, I'm making a connection, saying, hey, I see you went to University of Pittsburgh. You must be cool. And next thing you know, I'm saying, what kind of jobs do you have there? And all you need is a friend on the inside. Most companies they will pay their employees an employee referral bonus, and you get a great job. Everybody wins. But it's better than shipping your resume off to the never-ending website that you don't get a response from. Like, I would just advise, don't ever do that. Don't send it to jobs at, recruiting at, HR at. I mean, good luck if you do. But if you found someone on the inside who's willing to hand it to somebody, your odds are dramatically increased. That's what I mean by creative. Interviewing skills, touched on that a second ago, but I always say it's the person, not the paper. Your resume has to take you so far. You have to at least present yourself in a way that there's only so many hours in a day, even for the screeners. They can only select so many people, and they try their best to be fair and all that, I hope. But once you're in that interview room, interview habits kick in. And like they always say, there's no substitute for showing up to an interview and being in a positive mood. No one wants to hire a negative person. There's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what kind of day you had. Don't ask me what kind of day I had. I'm not going to let you know. When I walk in the door, I zip up the suit. I'm going to be positive, energized. You're not going to know anything. You don't need to know anything about me. No one's going to feel sorry for me. It's like, go with your guns blazing. Make sure that you reach that hand and shake it hard. Make sure that you smile at somebody and look at them. So these are not necessarily interviewing tips, but I heard and believe that interviews are the person making the interview judgment does so in 10 seconds or less. That means that's by the time they say hello, have a seat, they're already saying, for the next hour, I'm going to be justifying why I don't like you. I'm going to find something that's going to justify this. Or for the next hour, I'm going to justify why I do like you. My interview changes dramatically just based on that first 10 seconds. And we're all human. Someone's going to sit there and make that kind of if it's all it takes is 10 seconds and come in guns blazing, that's so easy. So if there's anything you can learn today, it's just make sure you walk into an interview completely happy, tell them how much you want to work there. You're not there to evaluate or to consider. You're there to get that job. And then if you walk out and you don't want that job, just to never call them back. But in that meeting, you're not there to say, oh, I'm thinking about it. I want to see what you guys got. It's like you're toast at this point. Okay? Anyone use these tools, job search trackers? Anyone have a spreadsheet of the last 20 places you sent a resume to? And does it have a column that says, did someone follow up? And when did you make follow-up call number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4? How many are you willing to do? They say if you don't do at least 7, it's noise. So, I mean, I had a really interesting experience recently in my life, personal life. My daughter is 26, graduated with a physical therapy type degree, didn't get into grad school, became disillusioned. She was a physical therapy type. Dad, I got to find the next great job. I said, talk to the right guy. I said, get a spreadsheet going. And she like fought me on that. I said, dude, you better do this. So and then I kept saying, send it to me every day. Let me see when you're following up. And sure enough, for the first couple of weeks, it was ragged and jagged. She's like, I would hear on the phone, oh, Dad, I had a great week. I'm doing all kinds of job searching. I said, let me see your spreadsheet. 1 entry. I said, well, where's all the stuff? She goes, well, it felt like a lot. I said, well, it wasn't. You know, so you wouldn't believe how much work you have to do to get that next job and stay persistent and stay on top of everyone and keep that things flowing. Yes, ma'am?
You said seven follow-ups or 7 payments?
Well, 7 follow-up attempts. At that point,
With one company?
yeah, with the one human. If that one human I'm trying to follow up with starts to just 7 ignores, I'm going to find their boss probably and saying, I've been trying to reach Sally and she hasn't been responsive. Is there something up? In other words, I will not be ignored. If I want to work at that company, you're not going to stop me. That kind of thing. Make sense? These job search trackers help you keep track of that. It helps you know where did you send them to. And again, you could lose track of all this from time to time. But these things, these 2 pictures, I pulled off 20 minutes before I left my office. I just said, because I have my own, and I was saying, should I clear it, sanitize it, and put a bunch of fake data in it? So then I went to Google, and there must have been 4,000 examples of job search trackers. I thought I invented it. But honestly, I didn't. Even Career Geek has one. I love the color codes, but you could get creative with it. But back to good old-fashioned spreadsheets. I think I'm going to have it number 7. And I got about 3 minutes to go. So from my next couple minutes, is there anything I could do to help anyone? A word of advice, answer a question, anything specific? Sir?
Quick one. I've been told on average, when it comes to networking, okay, I would like to hear your feedback on this, because I've heard on the average, 15 coffee meetings with people a week minimum. Is that your philosophy as well?
Well, that's a lot of coffee.
Yeah, that's a lot of networking.
It's a lot of networking. It gets costly.
Yeah.
You know, I can't possibly imagine that being a negative thing.
Right.
That seems to me to be a very sound thing. For some people, it could be impractical. But I think I would say that I believe in that kind of activity, whether it's a phone call, even a phone call, or a sit down, or a lunch, or can I drop by your office and sit in the lobby with you for 5 minutes? But believe it or not, there's not a lot of people that could even get. I have to drive somewhere for 20 minutes to have 10 minutes of coffee with you to drive back. Sometimes it becomes impractical for people. But I suggest that kind of activity will get you what you want. Anyone else? Somebody have time for one more? No?
Do you think it's okay when you're looking into people on LinkedIn that they know you looked at them because they can tell?
Well, yeah. Again, I live in the bright lights. You know, you're going to be happy the day I'm looking. But you know, hopefully, when you want to know who's looking at you. A lot of people use these anonymous things, right? I don't know why they do that. It's like I don't know what the big secret is, but you know.
So, like for as a seeker looking at a company, that's different.
There's no downside. You know, just have nothing to hide. Be in the bright lights and be happy. It's all good.